गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुः साक्षात् परं ब्रह्म तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः. So the topic was the basic Vedantic prakriya, the method of teaching of Vedanta. In Mulavidya Nirasa, the text you must have seen. These are all in selfie mode, you won't be able to see. Selfie mode. But anyway, so Mulavidya Nirasa book. Vedanta, first Vedantic stand was, I'll just give a very brief review within 2 minutes. Okay. Vedantic basic prakriya is, by examining the 3 states, one comes to understand how one is free from all avidya and all avidya karya samsara. One is free from ignorance. Ignorance is a misunderstanding. And the samsara that is experienced due to misunderstanding is not really there. See, the misunderstanding is a very interesting word. Misunderstanding means you perceive wrongly. So the wrong which you perceive is only in your perception. The thing itself doesn't change. The thing remains, fact remains what it is. It is only in your perception it appears different. So you are Brahman, free from all samsara, all birth, death and everything, eternally free. And that is my real nature. But I conceive, I take myself to be a jiva, a samsari. So the very nature of a misunderstanding is that it doesn't affect the reality, doesn't affect the fact. Whatever is the fact, if you have some misunderstanding about the fact, fact remains blissfully ignorant and unaffected by your misunderstanding. The fact itself remains totally unaffected by our misunderstanding. So this is the very nature of misunderstanding. Therefore, what we need to do is correct the misunderstanding. Misunderstanding implies a certain wrong standpoint. Misunderstanding implies a wrong looking. You are taking a wrong standpoint, looking at a thing wrongly. Then what is the right understanding? Take a right standpoint. The wrong standpoint goes away. The misunderstanding too goes away. This is what is Vedanta. Simple, I tell you, as simple as this. So Vedantin says, observing, examining 3 states will show you how you are free from individuality, free from states, free from body, mind and intellect. You are already free, that is Brahman. Now there are certain other ways. Common man thought that no, by examining the 3 states, you don't become free from the world. Neither your sense of individuality goes away. As an individual, you have certain character, certain individuality, certain personality. Okay? As an individual, you have a certain personality. And as a person, you are a part of, you are facing some world and you are a part of the world. And this interaction of you as an individual and the world around you and a relationship and continuous interaction and going through all good and bad experiences, this is what is your life. So this life shows that you are an individual going through all this life. By that common man says, by examining the 3 states, nothing is going to change. The world remains the world. You remain an individual as an individual, slightly different person, but you are the same jiva. The world remains the same. Your relationship with the world remains the same. Therefore, examination of 3 states doesn't make any difference to you. You remain the same. Then there is a section of Vedantins, Mulavidya Vadin we call them. They have a different way, they have a different prakriya. They say, yes, in waking state there is a real world, in dream there is an imaginary world. This is what Mulavidya Vadins say. And in deep sleep, the cause of these two worlds, the real world in the waking, the imaginary world in the dream, and in deep sleep, the cause of waking and dream, okay, the causing material, the material with which the waking world is built and the dream world is built. So some substantial, some material is present in deep sleep. Therefore, the waking and dream don't totally go away completely. They become compressed. They become compressed, or they become reduced to a very minimum state, a bija avastha, a seed state. So they just come and stay in the deep sleep. Thus, in all the three states, you remain still samsari only. So just by examining the three states is not enough to understand that you are free from any jivahood, any samsara, any states. Okay. On this point, we discussed elaborately certain days together, 6th, 7th, 8th. So they say, there is an ignorance. They say, even in deep sleep. So, directly you don't experience the world, but the cause of the world remains in deep sleep. It is a causal state of the world, therefore it is still related to waking. Deep sleep is related to waking. It belongs to the same level of waking. This is what they say. Therefore, the ignorance is a small material, a kind of a material. That material produces or modifies and appears as a waking world. Therefore, ignorance is not simply not knowing, is not an absence of knowledge, is not simply misunderstanding, but it is something positive material due to which a misunderstanding is produced and also a mispadartha. See, this Mulavidya Vada, this is another prakriya among some Vedantins, some Vedantins, they have this peculiar prakriya that there is a substantial avidya. Avidya is a kind of matter, a material which transforms into the world, and also it creates a misunderstanding. So that is the real avidya, and that won't go away just by going to deep sleep. Going to deep sleep, that avidya very much remains according to them. Therefore, examination of the three states doesn't remove ignorance. It only shows that ignorance in its very expressed state, manifested state of waking, in its modified state, in its according to them, in its effective state, a product state. In its expanded state, it won't be there. It will be reduced into a very thin layer. So by examining the deep sleep, you come to understand that the waking world, dream world are not so real, but you are not free from ignorance. The cause of the world remains. This is what they say. We have discussed elaborately. Then if that is the case, then why do you call such a substance as an ignorance at all? Why do you call it is a material only directly? As a material which has produced the world, why don't you say that? Then why do you call ignorance? Generally, we understand. So we are putting a question to these Mulavidya Vadins, means a section of Vedantins who teach Mulavidya as a part of Vedantic teaching. To them, others are putting question. If there is some material that modifies into this world, that produces a misunderstanding, why do you call it ignorance? Why do you call it ignorance? Ignorance is something which is opposite to knowledge, and the knowledge corrects it, it is only a misunderstanding. Generally, we see in life, ignorance is a simple misunderstanding or simple absence of knowledge. And you correct the knowledge comes, and knowledge is true to a fact. Ignorance is misunderstanding of a fact. This is common man's experience, and but you are presenting ignorance as something different. How can you justify that? He says, yes, the material which modifies into the world, which produces this world, though it is a material, yet it can be called ignorant. How can you call a substance as an ignorance? He says, because jnana virodhitvameva ajnana shabda pravritti nimittam. It can be called avidya because it will be destroyed by knowledge. Simply for this reason, we call the ignorance, we call that material substance which modifies into the world, which produces a misunderstanding, at the same time, or they can put it, a wrong knowledge and the wrong object. They call it like that, a wrong knowledge and a wrong object. So the material which produces a wrong knowledge and wrong object, mithya jnanam, mithya padartha. Though it is a thin material, yet we call it ignorance because it will be destroyed by knowledge. See, this is their explanation. He says that material which produces misunderstanding and also wrong padartha, erroneous knowledge and erroneous padartha, is designated, is called ignorance for the simple reason that it is destroyed by knowledge. But the question is, how can a substance will be destroyed by knowledge? This more will be discussed later. This is the biggest defect of them. And does knowledge ever destroy something? This is the important point we should know about our Mulavidya Vadins. They say that the function, we will discuss more later, how does knowledge destroy ignorance? They say knowledge is some kind of a power. It comes and destroys a material called avidya. Bhavarupam is something, a positive substance. They call avidya as a positive substance. Knowledge comes and destroys it, burns it out. This is very strange. And this is the contention, this is the debatable point. And we have to discuss. Now in the 9th point also we have discussed, I think, idam cha, I'll just briefly go through so that we come to the topic where what we are discussing. Idam cha ajnanam, this ajnana, Vedanta vakya shravanadi janita brahmatmaikya jnanadeva apasarati. We told that by examining the 3 states, you shift your vision, you shift your understanding about yourself. The misunderstanding that you have gets shifted, gets corrected, and that means you got into the right perspective about yourself, and you are free. With that right understanding, the misunderstanding automatically gets corrected, and you become free. We said this, but the Mulavidya Vadins say an ajnanam which is a positive substance, a thin positive substance, a very, very thin substance, but it is a positive. So that one, idam cha ajnanam Vedanta vakya shravanadi janita. By the listening to the Vedantic statement, Tattvamasi and other statements, Shravana Manana Nididhyasana. As a result of Shravana Manana Nididhyasana, a jnanam, knowledge of Brahmatmaikya jnanam, jnanam of understanding oneself to be Brahman arises. And that jnanam which arises alone can destroy this ignorance. So this ignorance, though it is a substance, you don't have to worry, it can be burnt off. How? By what? By knowledge. How does it do? Because knowledge destroys it, that's all. We have accepted that knowledge destroys a substantial avidya. Tadapasrutyanantaram. Now how this destruction of avidya takes place? First thing is that it is a positive substance and it is destroyed by ignorance. Here a big question mark comes. The nature of knowledge is only to illumine the fact. It only shows what is there. It doesn't change, it doesn't affect any change, doesn't modify anything, isn't it? The nature of knowledge is to just illumine. Illumine means light up what is there. It doesn't bring about any change in the condition of anything. This is what Bhashakara said. He says, continuously says in number of places, he says, Jnanam tu jnapakam na tu karakam. Jnanam is only a jnapakam. Jnanam only illumines, lights up. It doesn't bring about any change. Change means neither it destroys an existing thing nor it produces a new thing. Neither it covers up something nor it uncovers up. Uncover means as if a layer is there and it removes the cover. There is no question of removing, there is no covering. It only just points out. See, this covering and then illumining, you understand the difference. When you switch on the light, do you just come to see the books? Let us say here is a book on the table. As you switch on the light, do you come to see the book and table and then whatever is the furniture in the room, the whole room you come to see? It's just because the light illumines and shows the thing. Does the light simply show the thing, or does the light remove a package? The same book, suppose. Two experiences I present. One is the book has just now arrived through courier. The book has arrived through courier, still package is there, you have to unpack it. The unpack, the coverage, the package is there, you have to remove it. Second thing is the package is already opened, removed, the book is opened and it is kept on the table. Now to see this book which is already opened means from the package, it is removed from the packet. You can see as you switch on the light directly you can see. But the other one, it is covered by a layer of package and you have to tear the packet, then only you will be able to see the book. Okay, now what does the light do? Does light illumine the object or tear down the layer which is packed it, covered it? Does it tear down or does it burn down the layer which covers the thing? No. The nature of knowledge is neither to tear down nor to burn it off, neither tear down nor burn it out. It just illumines. Now they present jnanam as a burner. It burns as if you are burning away the layer. Okay, therefore, tad apasrutyanantaram. Yad jnani prapancham. Now, if all samsara, all duality, or this entire waking dream and all these states is due to ignorance, then you become stateless. Become means you come to understand how you are free from any states. Because if the states are due to ignorance, then on the dawn of knowledge you become free from states. See how they say. But how do they say? They say that even after jnanam rises, and even after ignorance is destroyed, tadapasrutyanantarancha. Even after ignorance is removed, yad jnani continues to see the world. They present jnani as an individual even after taking jnanam. This is the biggest defect. So yad jnani prapancham samupalabhate. Jnani sees the world. That means, how can you see the world? Let me know. Without being in the world, can you see the world? This is a very interesting question. How do you see the world? Seeing the world, what does it mean? What does seeing the world mean? You can see the world only when you are part of the world. Note it. If you are outside the world, world doesn't exist for you. Simply, you can see the dream world only when you are part of the dream world. The world ceases to be there when you are out of the dream. When you are out of the dream, the dream world ceases to be there. Okay, then you can't find the world. Finding the world, seeing the world only means being a part of the world, being an individual as a part of the world. Being an individual who is a part of the world. Without being an individual, that individual being a part of the world, you can't see the world. You won't be able to see the world. See, this is the way of seeing the world. Can you see the world without being a part of it? Can you see a room without entering inside? You never enter inside. Don't open the door. Don't enter inside a room. Stay outside and see the room. Impossible. You can't see the room. Similarly, you can't see the world without being an individual who is a part of it. Now he says, after ignorance is removed, the jnani still finds the world, experiences the world. Prapancham samupalabhate. Jnani still finds, comes to experience the world. Then how does he experience? If the entire world and jiva bhava is due to ignorance, then jnani is the one who gains knowledge by removing his ignorance. Then such a person who is free from ignorance and who has gained knowledge, will he be able to see? Will he be able to see the world? Seeing the world means what? Being an individual who is a part of the world, part of a state. Now, does he remain an individual who is a part of the world? They say, Mulavidya Vadins, yes. He remains part of the world, he experiences the world. So, tad apasrutyanantarancha yajnani prapancham samupalabhate. He experiences the world, but that world experience is not due to ignorance. See how they present. It is due to slightly different reason. Tada vidya leshakhya vidya samskara nibandhanam. It is not, see, jnani also perceives the world according to them. According to Mulavidya Vadins, jnani too perceives the world, but that perception is not due to ignorance, but due to the samskara of ignorance. A thin, faint presence of ignorance. A faint presence of ignorance. It is avidya samskara or avidya lesha. That is their explanation. Now we put a question, more we'll discuss in the entire book. The entire book is devoted to this topic only. Now briefly we question them. Once avidya, jnanam arises only by removing ignorance, by correcting ignorance. The jnanam which arises by correcting ignorance that jnanam cannot exist side by side with ignorance. That means once the jnanam rises, ignorance is no more. It can't exist. Therefore, ignorance, a faint trace of ignorance or a samskara of ignorance, all this is ridiculous. So therefore, avidya leshakhya, avidya samskara nibandhanam. But they say, jnani finds the world because of a thin samskara or avidya lesha, a thin, what you say that, trace of ignorance. Such a samskara, then how long that trace of avidya, or how long that samskara of avidya continue? Will it not go away at all? First thing is, why should it continue? First question. When will it go? And why will it go? And unless you remove complete ignorance, you won't get complete Brahman. Isn't it? If a small trace of avidya remains, then a part of samsara remains. You don't find the complete truth. You don't find the complete truth. Therefore, such a samskara, that samskara is present, prarabdha karma phala bhoga ante. Now the prarabdha due to which this body is experienced. So when the prarabdha is exhausted, means this life comes to an end, then avidya lesha goes away, or avidya samskara goes away. Atmakara charama vritti vinashaha. Now the question comes, we are putting question to those Mulavidya vadins. When jnanam rises, it should have destroyed all ignorance together. Why should it destroy all ignorance and retain a small trace of it? Because the nature of ignorance is same. When the light is brought, it is the same. Ignorance is of same nature. Then all the kinds of ignorances, all types of ignorance, it should eliminate. How can it eliminate a larger portion and retain a little bit? This is illogical and unconvincing. Now he says that samskara goes away. That samskara is only a small part of ignorance. First knowledge came, the major portion of ignorance is removed. Only a small trace is left out. That small trace of avidya will go away when charama vritti, they talk of it. Atmakara charama vritti vinashyaha. So the mind, after knowledge is born, according to them, the mind entertains a brahmajnana vritti. So that vritti goes on living as long as you have a prarabdha. In the last minute, that charama vritti destroys the final trace of ignorance. Even nothing is left out. That means at the end of prarabdha, when you are going to drop off the body alone, you get a complete jnanam. While living, you won't get a complete jnanam. This is what Mulavidya vadins prakriya. Sacha samskaraha prarabdha phala bhogante atmakara charama vritti vinashaha. The charama vritti, charama means the final thought, a final understanding of atma will destroy even that little bit of avidya. Deha patataurdantu videha kaivalyakyam. Then when the body falls off, he attains the videha kaivalya. Means a moksha free from the body. Moksha without body. That's all. In short, videha kaivalyam means, I think this is a simple expression. Moksha without body. Moksha without body. Videha kaivalyakyam nirvishesha chaitanyaikyam nirupacharitam avashyamatma jnani prapsyati. So, at the end of his prarabdha, the jnanam which was born, see, very strange logic, the jnanam which was born lives along with a trace of ignorance. See, this is strange thing. Jnanam which is born should remove all ignorance. No, it is like when you switch on the light, it doesn't remove all darkness. A major portion of darkness it removes, but a trace of darkness remains with it. Along with the light it lives for a long time, for some time. Then after some time, then the remaining portion of avidya, a small part of avidya, will be destroyed by the same jnanam. This is a very strange. When the jnanam is same, why should it destroy only a part of ignorance and retain another part? But that's how they present. They present that all avidya goes away except a little trace. The trace will continue as long as you have a prarabdha karma. When the prarabdha karma comes to an end, you are about to drop the body. At that time, you get the same jnana vritti, the same jnanam which has risen in you, can remove a part of ignorance and retain another part of ignorance to be able to see the world. And then even that karma is exhausted, then jnanam will destroy the remaining avidya. In this, what happens? Avidya is a positive substance in their prakriya. Second point is, avidya doesn't go completely, it goes in stages. Goes in stages with what? With the same jnanam. Same jnanam removes the major portion of avidya at one level. then the another trace of avidya, it will remove gradually, takes a long time and remove it. Therefore, the vidya knowledge has got two functions. Okay. This is their prakriya. Sacha samskaraha prarabdha karma phala bhoganti atmakara charma vritti vinashyaha dehapata adurdvam. Then once the body is fallen, then he becomes totally free. That means question comes, does the body interfere in your moksha? Obstruct your moksha? Do you need to destroy the body in order to attain moksha? This is what impression it creates. In their prakriya, this is the defect. Why do you say after the death of the body alone he attains the kaivalya moksha? If attaining Brahman is the moksha, then he attains right now. Body's presence doesn't interfere. Body present or absent doesn't make any difference. You can discover the nature of Atma in spite of the body or without the body. Either of them. Therefore, nirupacharitam avashyam atma jnani prapsyati. Okay. Asminscha pakshe jagrita dhyavastatraya parikshanam saprayoja. Then if that is the case, others are asking Mulavidya Vadins, then what is the purpose of examining three states? Even after examining three states, if avidya were to continue in deep sleep and waking and all three states, what is the point in doing Vedanta Vichara? Isn't it? What is the point in examining the three states? They say, Anena hichi asminscha pakshe jagaritadyavasthatraya parikshanam saprayojam. Mulavidya Vadin says, no. Examining the three states also has a place. It is also required. Although it doesn't remove ignorance completely, but it is required. How? Anena hichintanena sarvasyapi atmana sakashat paramatma tattvam vivichya jnapayitam shakyam. By examining the three states, one thing you come to understand, world is different, Atma is different. This much you understand, it's the most important. I tell you, this prakriya, just now we have touched, is not Vedanta prakriya. Okay. Therefore, examination of avastatraya is helpful to certain extent, but removal of ignorance doesn't take place. This is a strange logic Mulavidya Vadis are telling. Okay. Therefore, that means you can examine three states, but over and above the examination of three states, something else is required to gain jnana. This is what they say. Okay. So, asminscha paksha, okay. Anena hi chintanena sarvasyapi anatmanaha sakashat paramatma tattvam vivichya jnapayitum shakyam. By examining the three states, we come to learn one thing, that Atma is different from Anatma. We can see the Anatma is separate and Atma is untouched by it. This much of discriminating between Atma and Atma is possible. Therefore, Avastatraya Viveka is useful, but not complete. Vishishya sushupti chintanena drishya samsarga nashat sarupa praptariti drishtantaha prasidhyati. Then what is the purpose of examining deep sleep? Deep sleep also has an important place according to them. How? It helps you drishya samsarga nashat. When a person is free from the contact with the external world, you become free. The very thought you have, you are free right now. Okay. Vishishya sushupti chintanena drishya samsarga sarupayapta drishtanta prasidhyat. So, by examining the deep sleep, we come to be convinced of a possibility of Atma being Brahman. It's possible because you are free from the world, therefore you might be free from the world. So therefore Sushupti serves as an example, as an illustration to Atma, according to them. But Sushupti is Atma. Why do you make Sushupti as an illustration? Sushupti is Atma only. We'll discuss later, it will come in future. यद्यपि न सुषुप्त्यवस्थाने पुनरावृत्तिरहित परमात्मभावः प्रकल्पते, although you can't take a stand that you become free, पुनरावृत्तिरहितः परमात्मभावः प्रकल्पते. Just by going to sleep, you won't become free from samsara. Tathapi, yet viparita jnana nivrittir upayogah prakhayate. Yet examination of deep sleep helps you one thing, this misunderstanding, mispadartha and misunderstanding, wrong padartha and wrong knowledge, both of them get corrected. This is what they say. तदवस्था निरूपणेन इत्यर्थवती भवति चिंता न च श्रवण मननादि वैयर्थ्यमस्ति. In the last point he says, now don't think that Shravana Manana also goes waste according to our Mulavidya Prakriya. He says no, because Antaratad Vyaparam Samyak Jnanasya Anudayat Shravana Manana Nididhyasana are not redundant, they are very much necessary and useful. Okay, without them there is no jnana at all. Samyajnanasya anudayat samyajnanenaiva nirvashesha parimoshanat ajnanasya iti sarvamanamadhyam. Therefore, with that samyajnanam alone, all ignorance goes away, but examination of three states helpful. It will give you ground, it will prepare your ground, and that's all, nothing more. This is what Purvapakshi's argument is concluded. Okay, now the Siddhanta's reply begins. Vade pramana vakyopanya vicharasya avashakata. Now we are discussing 10th point in the first chapter, the 10th passage. Vichara avashakata, the necessity to do vichara. अतः पूर्वोक्तयोः शंका समाधानयोः सारासारता विचारयिष्यते. Earlier, what common man told, what Mulavidyavadi told. So this discussion between a common man and Mulavidyavadi, we should listen and understand. We have to analyze more deeply into this and find out how far their arguments, explanations are valid. Okay, Prathaman Tavat Kathayam. Now in the first place, while discussing when should we bring a quotation there, Upanishads or Bhagavad Gita or any other one, when should we bring in the quotation, Shastra quotation? Pramana Vakyodharana Sthaladikam Adikritya Kinchit Chinchat. Therefore, Swamiji says here, let us discuss little bit about when and how to bring the quotation, introduce the quotation to prove some point while discussing. When can you bring the quotations? How? Regarding this, let us discuss. Yatoshya Dhunatana. We need to discuss this because nowadays modern people kechida anavalambyaiva niyamastitim kanchit, without depending upon, without following a certain rule. Sveshtanurodena yuktim vachanam va kadhayam praveshayanto daridrishyante. Just waywardly, out of his interest, just because they like it, they are bringing some quotation somewhere out of context and then bring it. Just want to prove it because so and so person told. If you question it, do you think you are a greater man, greater than Ramana Maharshi? Do you think you are greater than Shankaracharya? Like this, they they use this word of threatening you if you question. Okay, that means these days people are bringing any quotation out of context, irrelevant, and then talk anything. This has become fashion these days. This is what Swamiji is touching. There should be how to discuss in a healthy way. That's important. So therefore, they are bringing in quotation at a wrong point. Yato hi adunatanaha kechit anavalamyaina niyamastitim. Without following a reason and rhyme, they are bringing just a quotation. Somewhere bring quotation and try to prove that yes, my argument is proven. I am established. Sweshtanurodena yuktim vachanam va kathayam praveshayanto daridrishyante. Some people bringing the quotations without seeing the necessity of it. Like this, the discussion has gone, moved out of the moved out of the right path. It has deviated into the wrong path. Therefore, Swamiji is telling here, there should be some niyama. Sweshtanurodena yuktim vachanam va kathayam praveshayanto daridrishyante. Yada hi vagvyavaharam pravartayator वादिप्रतिवादिनोर एकः स्वाभिप्रायमेव आश्रित्य किंचित् आतिष्ठते प्रतिवादी पुनरभिप्रायान्तरम् अवलम्ब्य पूर्वस्य वचसि यत्किंचित् दूषणमभिददाति तदा तयोर अन्यतरस्यापि पक्षः सम्यक्त्वेन न व्यवतिष्ठते नापि किंचित् तत्त्वतो निर्धारितं भवति. This is the biggest mistake people are doing while discussing. What generally people do is vagvyavaharam pravartayatah. While carrying out a debate, vadi pratipadino, vadi, one who defends or one who puts forth his argument. Prativadi is a opponent who speaks against him. Proponent, opponent, like this you can say. Vadi prativadino. Vadi pratipadino ekaha, between them, between the two participants in a debate, if one person swabhiprayameva ashritya kinchid atishtate, he keeping his view, he holds some view. So according to his view, he tries to present one argument keeping his view, okay, keeping his opinion, his siddhanta in view. Then the prativadi takes totally another standpoint and then calls him wrong. See, whatever you say from a one standpoint, if another person takes totally opposite standpoint, and then it looks wrong naturally. Okay, prativadi किंचिद आतिष्ठते प्रतिवादी पुनरभिप्रायांतरम् आलम्ब्य पूर्वस्य वचसि यत्किंचित् दूषणमपि ददाति. Then the other one catches him and he says, no, I won't agree with thing, it can't be accepted, therefore he finds faults with it. In short, if one person says something from one standpoint, another person takes totally opposite standpoint and then condemns it. If this way we discuss, no discussion is possible and nothing good emerges as a result of this kind of discussion. Purvasya vachasi पुनः अभिप्रायांतरम् आलम्ब्य पूर्वस्य यत्किंचित् दूषणम् अभिददाति तदा तयोरन्यतरस्यापि पक्षः सम्यक्त्वेन न व्यवतिष्ठति. If somebody says something, other person totally dismisses it, he doesn't like it. So if this kind of discussion, nothing will come out and it won't be useful to anybody and nobody's stand gets established because everybody's stand is questioned. Napi yatkinchit tattvato nirdharitam bhavasi bhavati tasmat vade pramana vakya viniveshah katham karaniyah ityavashyam nischayam etat. Therefore, we have to discuss about when at what stage in the discussion one is supposed to bring the quotation, a citation. You can't bring the citation anywhere, anything, and then make the people and impose on people and ask them to accept it. Since so and so Shankaracharya told, now you can't question. Because Shankaracharya told and it is right. Once you bring a quotation, now you can't question it, you can't interfere, you can't discuss anything. Whatever he told, you have to accept blindly. Yato hi adhunatanaha, because kechit anavalamya vishayasthitim niyamasthitim kanchit sweshta, this is over already. Prativadi punar abhiprayantam purvasya doshanam avidadati tadana kinchit siddham tasmat. Therefore, last sentence, vade pramana vakya vinesha. During the debate, when at what stage to bring the quotation? Okay, somebody wrote these things boldly. Katham karaniyam ityavashyam nischayam etat. At what point and how to bring the quotation. Otherwise, you bring some quotation and say that my point is proven because I produced the quotation. I produced a citation and I am correct. You can't claim like that. Therefore, when to bring the quotation, when not to bring it tentatively, keep it aside and then discuss with logic. Okay. So in the 10th passage, next paragraph we shall discuss in the next class. Now hereafter in the whole chapter, in the first chapter, how to discuss. The entire first chapter hereafter talks about how to discuss. I feel this is important because these days people are unable to discuss. How loosely they talk, irresponsibly talk. Somebody says something and then you try to understand it from another angle and then find fault with it. This sadist people, sadism, cynicism is increasing these days. So how to discuss? There should be a rule about discussing. It's really very interesting. This we shall discuss in the next class. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Hari Om Tat Sat.